Okay, this is going to be an update on Hurricane Ida. Let's look at the 5 o'clock advisory, and this hurricane is basically still on track, maybe just a little bit to the right of track. But anyway, it continues to track northwest. It's continuing to deepen. It's a Cat 2. Winds are increasing, pressures are falling. It's in rapid intensification mode, and it continues to be, it's going to be a big storm, right? And it's getting there quickly. So we'll go through. Here's current satellite picture, and we'll go to the National Hurricane Center forecast. And basically what they're saying, if we just look at the track here, let's jump over here. We'll do the track here in a second. Let me show you this. So basically, the hurricane's a little bit right of the track. They talk about that from current satellite from the earlier 11 a.m. advisory. And the 5 o'clock advisory shifted to the right, maybe about 15 miles. So the impacts are going to be virtually the same, but the thing that's going to be really the most interesting thing here is that they talk about the key messages: danger, life-threatening storm surge inundation Sunday along the coastline of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Storm surge warnings are in effect. Extremely life-threatening inundation of 9 feet or greater above ground level is possible within the area from Morgan City, Louisiana, to the coast of Mississippi. Overtopping of local levees outside of the hurricane and storm damage risk reduction system is possible where local inundation values may be higher. Answers throughout the warning should follow any advice from local authorities. In other words, if you're in an evacuation zone now or you're near a levee system, and with 15, maybe upwards of 20 inches of rain coming over south central and southeast Louisiana during the day tomorrow, that you're going to have freshwater flooding, you're going to have storm surge, and then you're going to have overtopping of the levees in certain areas. I'm not going to say that the levees are going to fail. I'm just saying that they're going to be very stressed. This will be probably the most stressed they've been on since Hurricane Katrina, realistically. So, we'll see how this plays out. Ada is still expected to be extremely dangerous major hurricane, reaches coastline, Category 4. Hurricane force winds will start early Sunday morning in the hurricane-affected area along the Louisiana coast, including metropolitan New Orleans, with a potential for catastrophic wind damage where the core of Ida moves ashore. And I've got it now. I'll go into details about this in a minute. I'm gonna get very specific about this area. I'm gonna focus on the not so much the storm surge, but I'm focused where I think the core of the damage is gonna be, and I have very updated information on that in a minute. So there's a lot of damage. Action to protect life and property should be rushed to completion in the warning area as soon as possible. Damage winds, especially in gusts, will be spread inland as the track of the center moves onshore across southeastern Louisiana and southwest Mississippi Sunday night into Monday. Widespread tree damage and power outages well inland. Okay, this is not just a coastal problem; it's going to be well inland. And then we're going to have a tornado outbreak on Monday. We'll talk about that. So that's kind of the big news. And I think if you look at the graphics here, and we look at the storm track and the hurricane track, basically not much has really changed. I mean, it shifts 5 or 10 miles, so it's a major. It's a Cat 2 now. It'll probably be a Cat 3 sometime this evening, if not before the 11 o'clock advisory. My gut is it'll be Cat 3 before the 11 o'clock advisory, and then it would go to Cat 4 right before landfall. Makes landfall southwest of New Orleans in the southeast corner here, and then it tracks to the western New Orleans, and then on up north from there. So the next thing we want to look at is the big storm surge is going to be really bad. We expect a lot of flash flooding potential, right? So they've got the potential. We've got a high risk for potential for flash flooding in the southeast here, 15 to 20 inches. So you're going to have a lot of freshwater flooding inland, right? You're in the path of the hurricane, and then inland, you got a moderate chance of intense flash flooding. This is going to be a multi-day event as a storm moves northward. Peak surge is stayed about the same. It's 711 feet above ground level, just to the southeast side of New Orleans. You got 10 to 15 feet. This is going to be right to the right of the eye. If it does come ashore as a solid Cat 4, maybe even a mid Cat 4, there'll be very isolated areas. It's not going to be a whole coastline. It might be literally like a mile or two, similar to what we saw with Hurricane Laura, very similar to what we saw with Hurricane Michael at Mexico Beach. There'll be an area down here. I wouldn't surprise if I wouldn't not be shocked when it's all said and done. This will be post-analysis, maybe not in real time. I wouldn't be surprised down in this area here, right to the right of the track, that we don't have some isolated areas of 20 feet storm surge. They'll be very localized. May not even be able to measure them until after the hurricane, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get some really crazy numbers just immediately to the right of the hurricane, especially if it makes landfall as a Cat 4. That's kind of what I'm thinking there. So let's talk about the other thing we need to talk about. So I'm going to switch over to my Barron ThreatNet display here. Let's talk about storms. There's a lot of information on this screen here. So basically what this is it's a model we use coamps and whirlwinds. And basically what it does is it takes the projected wind and the path of the storm and it uses buoy data and satellite data. And it says, hey, what are the wave heights going to be? And this is not storm surge. This is going to be wave height. So you take that number and cut it in half, and that's going to be closer to your actual storm surge number. So it thinks by 1 a.m. In the morning here, in about 12 hours from now, we're going to have about 10 hours from now, we're going to have 40-foot waves in the northeast quadrant of the Cat 3, right? And as it goes out with time, those heavy, big battering waves, the waves are going to really increase after midnight. And as it comes north, you can see I got 35-foot waves. Those are going to be large damaging waves to the right. This is going to affect the southeast coast, the mouth of Mississippi. This is going to affect going in just to the east of New Orleans, as well as these large battering waves are going to go mouth of Mississippi all the way back over to the landfall point here, right on the southeast coast. So these huge battering waves are going to come ashore. And as we get into tomorrow morning, tomorrow early afternoon, you're going to have very destructive battering waves coming ashore. At the same time, you're going to have storm surge coming up. So as this increases, you take that number about in half, you'll have 15, maybe some 18-foot storm surge will proceed right ahead to the right of this, right? So it's going to come up in this area. There's going to be a massive storm surge coming up in this, just to the right of this, right here, right southwest of New Orleans. It's going to be down this area. This is a lot of marsh area, not very populated, but that's where the real bad storm surge is going to be. The other thing is, and I'm drawing here, and let's see if we can get rid of let me do something here. Let me, if I can find, let me get rid of this one thing here. Yep, the data, and get rid of that. I'm going to turn wave heights off to get rid of that, turn that off, and let's go back here. So we have the track here. So the other thing is that it's going to be an issue is wherever this thing comes in ashore, right? I'm going to really talk about, we talked about storm surge. Let's talk about damage, okay? Here's Houma, there's New Orleans. And if you look, and we got Baton Rouge up here, up at the top. If you look at this, the core damage a lot of times occurs either side of the hurricane eye, right? The worst damage is generally on the right-hand side, but you can take, 20 miles either side of this eye, and sometimes 40 miles wide, like Hurricane Michael. But you're going to have a core damage area of where I expect a lot of trees down, a lot of power outages, this kind of area right in here with potential for catastrophic damage, right? So you have building collapses, you got roofs ripped off. This is the area where I expect major damage. It's going to start down southeast, but again, this is a very rural area. There's some fishing villages and stuff. I was down this area yesterday. There's some fishing villages, a lot of boats and stuff up the canals here and up the channels. But as you come up, I think Houma area, as you get over here just to the north east of Morgan City, you go on up north here and you got toward Baton Rouge. Obviously, the hurricane's weakening, right? So you're going to have near as much damaging winds up there, not as intense, but you're going to have widespread power outages and widespread damage. This is going to be the core damages to either side of this track. Okay, that's where the roof's going to come off. You'll have failures of buildings. You'll have a lot of damage, right? As you get over here to the east, you're going to have wind damage well inland. This thing's going to go way, 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 way north as far as the track. If you look at tropical storm tracks and depression, you've got things way up here. So you're going to have wind damage and tornadoes all the way up in this area. So as we get into Monday morning, the models are starting to really lock on as a hurricane tracks up northeast here, and this is very late, as a hurricane tracks northeast and the hurricane gets up in this general area come Monday morning. When it's up here, there's Jeremy dry air that comes in on the southwest flank of the hurricane, and this dry air is going to do this, okay, on the southwest flank. As this is rotating, there's going to be lines of convection that fires like this very early, just north of New Orleans. This is around sunrise Monday morning, and these lines of convection are going to track to the northeast as this dry air overruns the southeast surface winds. There's going to be a tornado from Gulfport, north of New Orleans, Slidell, up toward Montgomery, Jackson. This area, expect a tornado outbreak on Monday. Hattiesburg, Montgomery, this whole area here, I expect significant tornadoes on Monday. Again, they're tropical. They're normally not the F4s, F5s kind, but damaging tornadoes are definitely on the table for Monday. And expect, again, the Gulfport, Hattiesburg, Jackson, Mississippi, this area up in here. This is the area that's going to be under tornadoes. Jackson's up here. This whole area is going to have, you're going to see a number of tornadoes on Monday in that area. So that's the other area that's going to have problems, right? So I'm going to clear all. So that's really what I'm saying here is that Monday's going to be tornadoes. We'll see if we can get up there. But Baton Rouge, New Orleans, up in this general area, right in here. Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, Alvin, Alabama gets in action Monday afternoon. Lots of tornadoes here as we get into Monday morning, Monday afternoon, especially as you go northeast from there. It's even going to be, maybe even a bigger problem. But so tornado outbreak. So we're going to have flash flooding. We're going to have catastrophic wind damage, storm surge. So in the power, I expect power to be out over the entire coast. It's going to be widespread. I mean, power outages are going to be, this is the ballpark. It's not perfect. It's not going to be totally perfect, but you're going to get the idea. I expect a lot of this area is going to have power out. Cell service will be out. As the power goes out and the generators, run out of fuel and those kind of things, the cell towers, after 6 or 12 hours, this is the area that's going to lose power. You're going to lose phone communications. You're going to lose cellular. You're going to lose texting capabilities. And right along the coast in inland, this area right here, it may be without power and utilities for maybe weeks or months, which is going to be, again, that's going to be kind of this area right here could be without power for weeks, right? So it's going to be very miserable. No power, no water, no food, no gas. So that's the conditions coming up. That's by 24 hours. That's going to be a reality down here, right? So a major disaster is coming. It's probably going to be, I'm going to guess right now, it'll exceed $1 billion. It may even go $10 billion in damage. This is going to be a massive catastrophe again. So the people we need help down here, and the interstates are all full of traffic all day, all last night. The interstates are totally backed up. People going to Houston on I-90, people tracking, Baton Rouge heading this way. They got counterflow leaving out of New Orleans, traffic trying to get people out of the city. So it's a big mess, right? So anyway, that's a real quick update. I'll be quiet now and see if anybody want to ask some questions, and we'll flip it. Yep. So if you got any questions, now's the time to ask, because I'm going to wrap this up, and we'll no more Periscope. It's going to be 100% on YouTube, and that's what we're going to be doing from now on, right? It's all YouTube, right? So put this phone down here. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on right now. Periscope's over per se, and it's going to be 100% on YouTube, so you can follow us on Twister Chasers on YouTube channel, and that's what we'll be doing live updates tomorrow. We'll be streaming tomorrow. Again, we will train to the cell service here is fair at where I'm at, but we'll see how it holds up tomorrow, because we'll have hurricane force winds shortly after sunrise. Probably by noon we'll be in the thick of it, so we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll try to be out past a couple of car washes. I don't think I'll be hanging in tomorrow. Yeah, Morgan City, you're going to have damage over there, and storm surge and flooding at Morgan City. You need it. Hurricane, you'll be probably just on the western eye wall or western side of the hurricane. You'll have a lot of north winds there, probably gusting over 100 tomorrow afternoon at Morgan City there, so just to my northwest here. So that's an area. Yeah, so we'll kind of give you an update tomorrow morning, but expect this stream to start fairly early. It could start shortly after sunrise. So this is going to be a bad one again. So anyway, that's kind of it for right now. It's a beautiful day outside, a few bands of storms, and that's all that's happening right now. But we'll start early in the morning, and we will see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow will be another big day. Okay, that's it. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.